Hello artists of YouTube, and welcome to my first video. I've been filming and refilming this video for the past 6 months, so let's hope this one turns out okay. Right, so today's video is a bit of a get to know you, or specifically me. If you're seeing this, you probably come from my TikTok or possibly my Instagram. My name is Izzy and I love all sorts of art. But before we get into the video, I want to say thank you for watching, and I hope you choose to follow along for further videos. So I've been drawing in sketchbooks for about 9 years. I say it that way because I feel like most people drew as kids in some way, shape or form, and it wasn't until about 9 years ago when I went from doodling flowers and squiggles on scrap paper to actually creating art as a hobby. For this video, I'm going to be filling a sketchbook spread, and I'm going to be using 3 different types of pencils. The Prismacolour Premier pencils, which are these ones, as well as the Fabre Classic Colour, which look like this, and lastly the Staedler Norris pencils, colour pencils, which look like this. Let's get started. I first joined Instagram before TikTok, where I now have about 6.3k followers. I think it's about 6.4 now. And I just want to say thanks to everyone who's been around from the start, or even if you're recently a part of the community. I honestly never thought I'd end up anywhere like where I am now. So let's start with a bit about me. Now I thought the best way to do this might be to answer questions based off what I've been getting on my Instagram and my TikTok. So I opened a Q&A the other day and I thought I'd use the questions from that as a get to know me. The first question I had is, how many sketchbooks do I have? Well, I've been through about 40 odd sketchbooks. This one here is my 45th that I'm drawing in. Yes, all the others are full, and I use a mix of A4 and A5 over the course of the years. Sketchbooks have always been a favourite thing of mine to keep, just because I love having all my art in one place, and it kind of turns into a bit of a memory cache for all my stuff. Okay, getting more generic, what's my favourite colour? Keeping this one short, my 2 favourite colours right now are black and red. Don't know why, just the best colours. They also look really good together. What is my favourite food? I would have to say burritos or ice cream, specifically caramel ice cream. Favourite movie? So this one's actually changed since I first answered it on my Instagram a while ago. It used to be Spirited Away. Now, however, I'm a huge Marvel fan, which does sometimes show up in my art, as you might see later in this drawing. And I would currently have to say Venom is my favourite movie, definitely underrated. What country am I from? So I'm from Australia. I've lived here my whole life, aside from when I've been travelling on holidays with my family. Cats or dogs? Honestly, I would have to say birds. It's not that I have anything against cats or dogs, I would just prefer a bird. Okay, a bit more out there, eye colour. So a fun thing about me is I have a couple colours in my eyes. As you can see in this picture I took, I have bluey grey and brown eyes with little flecks in them, but sometimes they look green in most light, so I usually just say green because that's what they normally are. Moving on, what songs do I love? I'm a big fan of music. If you know me in real life, you've probably seen me with headphones on around 90% of the time. I'll listen to anything, but I must say I do love the song Valentine by 5 Seconds of Summer right now. Favourite animal? Probably the mantis shrimp. They're just really cool and they can see a lot more colours than the human eye can, so that's always been interesting to me. I really want to know what my art looks like to them. Favourite kind of weather? This one's easy, hoodie weather. Cold and rainy. Preferably just the kind of weather I can curl up with a blanket by a big window and a hot drink and draw while I watch it rain. There's just something so perfect about that. Okay, what's my coffee order? Caramel Frappuccino. I had it once in America when I went to Starbucks after a 14-hour flight, and I've just been obsessed ever since. Favourite TV show? Okay, so this one's also changed. It went from whatever it was the first time, I honestly can't remember, but it's currently Chicago PD. I love this show so much. I'm seriously hooked. Okay, waffles or pancakes? Waffles all the way. Come at me all you want in the comment section, but I love waffles. Ice cream flavour. I feel like I answered this one, but caramel. I think it's I'm not sure which brand it is. I'll put it up on the screen. And my favorite 5 things to do: draw, probably, listen to music, read, go on Pinterest, and go on TikTok. Moving on to the more recent Q&A, where do I post? At the moment, I'm mainly posting on my TikTok. It's the same username as my Instagram and my YouTube. But yeah, I said I also have a YouTube and a Pinterest as well. Where do I get my inspo from? So I often get a lot of my inspiration from Pinterest, but I sometimes use my own reference pictures, which I really love to do. And I guess my environment as well, so like the park and stuff. What's my favorite medium? This honestly changes so often. It really depends on like the month, because each month I kind of swap around to doing a different medium. But right now it's colored pencils, and before it was gouache. A couple other questions I had which I didn't answer on my Instagram were, what sketchbook do I use? I use a Moleskine sketchbook, the large Moleskine sketchbook. Where do I buy my art supplies? I get my art supplies from a range of different places, but mainly from Officeworks and Amazon. They're my 2 big go-tos. Moving on to the questions from TikTok. These aren't so much questions as just comments I often receive of people asking me things. So some pretty common ones, which I've already answered, are what sketchbook do I use? Where do I get my art supplies from? And another one I get sometimes is, do I keep all my sketchbooks? And I have to say yes. I actually have a cupboard, a whole shelf dedicated to my sketchbooks. I have all 45 past sketchbooks. They all live in the cupboard together, and every once in a while I go through them, and I just really love to just see the progress and see how I've progressed with my art journey. I keep my most recent sketchbooks, so the Moleskine sketchbooks, out though, because they tend to have a bit better art in them, seeing as they're a bit more recent. Okay, I think that's about it for the Q&A. So I guess I've just got to find something else to talk about now. You can tell I'm not very used to long voiceovers. The longest voiceovers I usually do are about a minute on my TikTok, if you guys follow that. So by now I bet you can guess who this sketch is of. It is Wanda from Marvel. I've really been getting into Marvel a lot more lately, so I do consider myself a big Marvel fan. I love a lot of the movies. There's definitely still some I have to see, but I'm definitely into it right now. I love drawing Spider-Man. I love drawing the actors and actresses from Marvel, specifically Scarlett Johansson, Elizabeth Olsen, and Florence. There's just something really expressive about the way they come up in photos, which I find really useful for when I'm practicing drawing people. And I guess that's kind of a tip I'd give, is that if you want to practice drawing expressions and natural poses for people, instead of looking up specific emotions, I recommend looking up an actor or actress's name. For example, when you look up Elizabeth Olsen, it comes up with so many different pictures with different facial expressions, which is really useful for when you're trying to draw more obscure facial expressions. So I find that definitely try that out next time you want to do a study. It's good to have some consistency when you're learning to draw facial expressions. So to have that sort of constant figure as your reference is useful. However, I do recommend, once you've become comfortable with one person, I recommend using a couple different references for the same emotion so that you can figure out what the common features are in expressing said emotion. So I recommend definitely look at actors and actresses if you're going to start drawing expressions or want to practice drawing people. It's definitely a useful thing to try out and see if it works for you. I should probably mention, when I say look up, I do mean on Pinterest. That is where I go for most of my references. I have a couple Pinterest boards, public, which you guys can access if you want. I have an expression references board, where I have some of those photos I've been talking about, as well as some other reference boards for animals and people. So if you're ever stuck or just really looking for a reference, maybe go check that out. It could be helpful, I'm not sure. I also just want to take a moment to apologize for the lighting that's going on in the background. While I was filming this, it was about the sun was starting to go down, so it was making weird colors through the curtains. I'm hoping to work on getting the lighting a bit more consistent, as well as the filming a bit better once I get more experienced at this. So to just talk about where I see my YouTube channel going, I don't really have any plans for it just yet. My main plan is that I don't really have one. I'm not sure how often I'm going to be posting, if there's going to be any sort of consistency, but I think it's something I'll have to figure out as I go along. So I would recommend maybe hitting the follow just to see what happens here. It could be absolute chaos, or it could just be nothing. But I think that's part of the fun of starting a YouTube channel, is seeing what happens to it and seeing where it goes. That was definitely how I started my Instagram and my TikTok. I didn't really have any expectations when I first started. I just more started using it as somewhere to compile all my art so I could show people if I was out and about. I actually never had plans for it to do as well as my TikTok did. I definitely didn't have plans to ever be starting a YouTube channel, especially not for my art or anything like that. But I have had a couple of requests over the past few years of people asking if I have a YouTube channel, so I guess here we are. So with the filming and consistency, I'm not sure what's going to happen exactly, so I'll keep you guys updated. If you follow my Instagram, I tend to announce things on there. Not so much on my TikTok, but I do post a majority of my art videos on my TikTok. And then my Pinterest, I do post some of my art, but mainly use it for references. So I also have a Redbubble, which I don't use much, which I have a couple stickers on. I should definitely try and focus on that a bit more. I'm considering making some Spider-Man stickers to put up there, which I feel like could be quite fun, and especially with the whole Spider-Man trend going on right now, which I'm really enjoying, the Marvel being a big feature on my For You page. I'm hoping not to make this video too long for my first video, so I'm not sure how much of the spread I'm actually going to get done, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so definitely starting off strong with this Wanda drawing. I'm not sure how much it actually looks like her, especially the lips, but I did try and get the eyeliner correct, the smudged eyeliner that she likes to wear. The headpiece is a bit lopsided, but it looks alright. Going back to the topic of my TikTok really quickly, I'm very behind on posting on there right now. I have about 20 to 30 full completed drafts sitting in my drafts that I need to post. So you probably won't see any of this spread feature on my TikTok for a little bit. So it's a bit of a come to my YouTube and see it before I post it on my TikTok. Because it'll be a while if I keep posting at the rate I'm posting. I'm a bit inconsistent, but I definitely post there a lot more than I do on my Instagram, which kind of falls off the face of the earth every couple months. Definitely check out some of my other platforms if you feel like it. I feel like I've said that too many times now. So I guess I should probably state what kinds of videos I plan to make on here. So obviously they're all going to be about art, so I reckon I'll have most of them will be sketchbook spreads and sketchbook tours, but I reckon I'll also maybe in the future do some art vlogs, so going with me to get art supplies or coming with me to sketch in the park or something like that. I'm not entirely sure yet. Maybe I'll do a studio tour in the future, but it's definitely something I'm going to work on, is my ability to film and my consistency. Life's a bit hectic right now with work, so it really depends when I can fit things in. And then to finish it off, I'm just going in with a white gel pen to add some depth and highlights to the eyes and the lips, just as a finishing touch so that it has a little bit more dimension to it. And now we're back and I've finished fixing up my lighting. I'm going to do a bit of a Spider-Man like I did here, but across the middle of the page in that same sort of pose. So starting off with that, I started with this grey pencil. I like using this more than actual graphite lead because it just doesn't, it's not as harsh against the paper, and I can go over it again with more coloured pencils. So I started off, and you can see I already messed up the head. I put it in the wrong spot. And then so I'm going in to draw the same pose, and I'm in doing the arm, and the hands are actually quite tricky because they're so small and in an odd position. It's quite difficult to get them right. Then I'm going in, throwing in that other leg before putting in the other one. If you can't tell by now, this is a bit of a Marvel-themed sketchbook spread. I've always been a bit of a Marvel fan, especially when I was younger. I reckon the first bit of Marvel content I ever consumed was probably there was a kids' TV show when I was pretty young that was all Marvel, so it had all of your Marvel characters in it, including all of the Marvel baddies. And I think that was one of my favourite shows as a kid. I don't remember what it was called, but I'm not sure if anyone else remembers it, but it had it was cartoon. It was really cartoony, but it had all of the Avengers in it, and it had all of your typical bad guys, and it was probably my favourite show. And I consumed a lot of content that was Marvel when I was younger, and then so apart from that kids' TV show, I sort of went off Marvel for a bit because I was a bit young to watch anything more than cartoons. And then once I was about a bit older, I'm not sure exactly how old, but I got really into the Guardians of the Galaxy. I watched Volume 2 in cinemas, which was definitely a really fun experience. And I'm looking forward to watching Volume 3 at some point in the coming holidays. I'm actually really excited for it. I'm hoping to go back to the cinemas to watch it. Don't come at me for not watching it yet. I also haven't seen the new Spider-Man movie. There's actually a lot of Marvel movies I need to catch up on. That's kind of my plans for the holidays, is to watch a lot more Marvel movies. But yeah, Marvel's always been a bit of a big thing with me, and it features in my art quite a lot. If you want to see some more of my Marvel drawings, I did a fair few of Bucky and Steve on my last sketchbook. I think it was number 44. So if you go onto my TikTok, there's some drawings on there, on the sketchbook tours of the Marvel drawings I did. But I think one of my favourite things about Marvel is definitely the fact that it's made for all ages. Like, you've got the kids' shows and the kids' cartoons, and I think this was really highlighted to me the other day when I was at the park, and there was this little boy who was about 5 or 6 having a Spider-Man birthday party, and he was running around in this full head-to-toe Spider-Man costume with the mask and everything. And I thought it was just adorable. And then the parents had hired a Spider-Man actor to come along, and despite the fact I was sitting on the complete other side of the park, I could still hear all these kids cheering for this Spider-Man actor, and it was so cute, and it just reminded me that Marvel is really just for everyone, or more like everyone who wants to have something to do with Marvel. I'm not saying people have to necessarily like Marvel. I have a couple friends that don't like Marvel, but I just think it's really quite a fun thing to talk about. I really love the movies and just the whole fandom around it. I know as a kid I had Marvel Band-Aids, which was always really fun. It made them not so scary. I used to hate Band-Aids as a kid because I was so scared of taking them off because it used to hurt. And so I think having Marvel Band-Aids was one of the few things that made me okay with having a Band-Aid on. But yeah, no, Marvel's definitely been a big part of the media I've consumed, and especially now with how featured Spider-Man is on, I think, everyone's For You page at this point, because of the new movie, which I haven't seen yet. Don't come at me in the comments, but I'm definitely looking forward to watching it. I also wanted to say that I did a video recently on creating my spider sonar, and if you don't know what that is, that's basically where an artist or someone creates what they would like their suit to look like how they imagine themselves as Spider-Man in the Marvel universe. So I did a video of me drawing how I think I would like my suit to look if I was Spider-Man, and I've posted that on my TikTok, my Instagram, and I think there's even a YouTube short that I posted a couple days ago on there, as well as the final being up on my Pinterest. So that was definitely a fun experience. If you're into art and you like Marvel, I recommend giving it a try if you feel like it. It's quite a fun thing to do. Really gets the creative juices flowing with the whole character design / suit design aspect of that. I think that's quite fun. It's always been something I've enjoyed, designing things. But yeah, it was definitely a fun experience designing my own character, which was definitely inspired by the little boy at the park. He was just so cute. But yeah, so that was absolutely adorable, and I sat in the park a little way off and drew my little spider sonar, which was quite fun for me to do, especially with all these little 5-year-olds running around so excited about Spider-Man. I think that really just set the mood of this little childlike wonder that I have for the whole Marvel universe. Especially with Spider-Man, I've always loved drawing Spider-Man. In my high school biology class, I think in senior year, I used to draw Spider-Man in my notes a lot. So I'd have all of these really beautiful biology notes because I was really diligent in taking biology notes because it was the only thing that kept me focused in class. And then down the bottom, you'd have all of these little doodles of Spider-Man hanging off the page and hanging upside down and webbing across my notes. And even when I finished exams early, I'd draw Spider-Man on the back cover. To the point that I had my teacher actually say to me, there's a reason the late page was left blank. So I doodled Spider-Man on scrap paper instead, but I think that's just a fun part of drawing Spider-Man, is drawing the webbing on his suit. I know I don't do it properly, I do it more like a grid, but it's just quite fun and I like the way it looks. I also know that when I draw the symbol on his chest, it's not the actual Spider-Man symbol. I don't think he ever had a logo like that. I think he had about 3, maybe more different symbol changes over the years, but I do this really cartoony one with kind of a reverse semicolon for the spider's body and then some squiggles for the arms and legs. Here I'm just going in with a more solid blue to add in some more solid colour to get rid of that sort of streaky look with the pencils. The way I sort of figured out how to do that was by looking through the actual camera. I could see what the camera was and wasn't picking up, so I could get more complete coverage. Because I think an important thing to remember when filming is that it doesn't matter what I can see, it matters what the camera can see, because that's what you guys will see. So yeah, I tried to get some more consistency in the actual colour, which meant I was actually pushing quite hard with this pencil, which is one of the reasons you can probably see I have some scrap paper between the pages. I found recently when I was using coloured pencils in this sketchbook, this is a Moleskine sketchbook, I found that when I was pressing quite hard on the next page, it would actually transfer whatever pencil was on the other side of that page onto the next page over. So I'm not sure if that made enough sense, but basically it was printing. If you guys have ever done printing where you use a pencil and push quite hard on one side to transfer the image off the other side of the paper, but it was starting to do that with the coloured pencil on the previous drawings. So I put a layer of paper between each of the spreads around this drawing itself, just in an attempt to stop the pencil transferring from the pressure. I have actually tried some alternate methods as well. I know you can do fixative, like spray fixatives, but when I did that, I found that it actually made some of the coloured pencils show through on the next page over. I'm not exactly sure why, or if it was just the kind of pencils I was using, but for now I'm just sticking to the scrap paper, seeing as I have a lot of it. And it's working quite well so far. It transfers onto the scrap paper and not the next page over. Here I'm just going in with a white pen to fix up the mask before moving on to the next drawing. I'm just going to add in the third drawing really quickly because I feel like this video is actually going on forever and I don't really want to bore all you guys on the first video. So for the third drawing, I'm going to do Loki with his full helmets with the awesome horns, and so I'm going to do that quite quickly, probably a time lapse, and then we'll wrap it up and that'll be my first video. So as you can see, I've just gone in with the coloured pencils once more to finish off the Loki. It started with that grey pencil again before going in, adding colour, and then he's done. So overall, I wanted to say thank you to you guys for sticking around, watching the whole video. Like, subscribe, comment, do whatever you want, I don't really care. And I'll see you around. Hopefully you liked the video, and until next time, artists, stay sketchy.